One of the most mind-blowing moments in The Wheel of Time happens in Book 4, The Shadow Rising, and the Wheel of Time TV show adapted it so masterfully, I was in absolute awe. Rand goes to Rhuidean and experiences this insane visions of his ancestors. And not just random past events, he literally sees the history of the Aiel unfold, but in reverse, going from the present back to the origin. It's a huge moment for him personally, but also for us as an audience, because we finally get to understand how the Aiel, those badass desert warriors, came to be. And let me tell you, their history is tragic. The Aiel we know are all about honor, strength, and this intense code called ji'e'toh. But way back before everything went to hell, they weren't warriors at all. They were peaceful, deeply spiritual people and devoted to serving the Aes Sedai. Imagine a society that refuses violence no matter what, even when the world around them is falling apart. That's who the Aiel used to be. But over generations, as everything crumbled, they were forced to change, and Rand gets to leave those changes firsthand. So let's walk through the visions Rand experiences, starting from the moment the Aiel's fate was sealed. The first, well, technically last, vision Rand sees is of a guy named Charn. He's a young Aielman, but not the kind of Aiel we know. He's the Shine Aiel, which means he follows the way of the leaf, the way of absolute non-violence, and serves the Aes Sedai. He works for a researcher named Mierin Sedai, who, fun fact, later becomes Lanfear. Yes, that Lanfear. Mierin is excited because she's discovered a new source of power, one that anyone can use, not just channelers. She tells Charn that this new power could change everything, even helping the Aiel gather crops. But Charn gently disagrees, saying that the Aiel want to feel the wheat grow in their hands, that life isn't just about efficiency. It's this beautiful little moment that shows their philosophy, how connected they are to the world around them. And then, boom. Right in front of Charn's eyes, Sharome, the floating research center, explodes. What Mierin thought was a new power source, it was actually the Dark One's prison, and she just drilled right into it. This moment, this single mistake, starts the war of power and eventually leads to the breaking of the world. Unfortunately, Charn doesn't survive much longer after this. The peaceful world of the Dashai Aiel is about to be shattered. Next, Rand experiences life as Roderick, an Aielman living through the war of power. Everything is in chaos. The main channelers are going mad because the Dark One tainted saidin, and the world is falling apart. The Aes Sedai, desperate to preserve what little they can, give the Aiel a mission. They swear an oath to carry precious artifacts to safety. Sarangrael, Tarangrael, powerful relics of the Age of Legends. More importantly, they swear to never abandon the way of the leaf, to keep running, keep surviving, until they find a place where no one can hurt them. At this point, the Aiel still believe in peace. They still have hope, but that hope, it won't last much longer. Now we're with Jonai, another Aiel, and things are bad. Civilization is gone, the Aiel are wandering in the search of safety, but the world is dangerous. They get attacked, their wagons get raided, people are slaughtered, and because they refuse to fight back, they can't even defend themselves. This is where everything changes. Some Aiel start questioning their oath. Why should they keep running? Why should they refuse to fight when they keep getting slaughtered? All they want is to settle, to plant crops, to live again. Jonai begs them to stay true to their purpose, but they cannot. This is where the Aiel split. Some leave, hoping to start a new life in the south where they can sing the song of peace again. Spoiler, they eventually become the Tuathan, traveling people, the tinkers that we saw in season 1. The rest, including Jonai's son Adan, keep moving, but deep down something is breaking inside them. Fast forward to Luwin's timeline. The Aiel are still running, still clinging to their beliefs, but then something happens that changes everything. Luwin's sister and some others are kidnapped, and when the Aiel refuse to fight for them and basically write them off as dead, Luwin snaps. He decides that he and his friends will sneak into the enemy camp and rescue the girls. And they accidentally end up killing those kidnappers. Not out of rage, not because they want to, but because they have to in the self-defense. And then they return, thinking they've done the right thing, but their people look at them like they're monsters. You're no longer Aiel, they're told. Can you imagine? They risk their lives to save their families, and instead of being welcomed back, they're cast out. So Luwin and his friends do the only thing that they can. They keep moving, but now they're willing to fight. They're willing to protect. And because of Luwin, the Aiel never carry swords because swords only exist to kill. Instead, they take up spears because spears can put food in the pots. And the most heartbreaking moment of this vision for me is when Luwin's mom tells him to hide his face. The modern Aiel don't remember the history, but they feel it. That's why even generations later, Aiel put up their veils before they kill someone. It's an unconscious ritual born from that first betrayal. They hide their faces not because they fear their enemies, but because they are ashamed. Deep down, they know that they were never supposed to be warriors. They were never meant to kill. Yet here they are, a people defined by battle, honor, and vengeance. This is what makes the Aiel so tragic. They have spent thousands of years believing that they are most honorable, most disciplined warriors in the world, but that honor is built on a forgotten wound, a wound they don't even realize they are still carrying. From here, there is no going back for them. By the time Rand sees Mandain's life, the Aiel are fully warriors. They've been pushed into the waste, surviving in the harshest place imaginable. But even now they don't fully understand where they came from. Mandain, a young Aiel chief, is summoned to meet with the Gen Aiel, the last remnants of the original pacifist Aiel. With the help of Aes Sedai, the Gen have built a hidden city of Rhuidean. And the Aes Sedai, who still remain, tell Mandain and the other chiefs that if they are to lead the Aiel, they must go through the glass columns in Rhuidean and see their history. And Mandain doesn't hesitate, he steps forward, ready to learn. And this is what brings us back to Rand, standing in those same glass columns, seeing the history of his people, realizing that he himself is the one the prophecy speaks of. He is of the blood but not raised by the blood. He will come from Rhuidan at dawn and tie you together with bonds you cannot break. He will take you back and he will destroy you. The history of Aiel is a tragedy, but it's also a story of survival. They lost everything. They lost who they were, and yet they endured. They became something new. And now Rand, an outsider, yet one of them, has to decide what this history means. This moment in Rhuidean is absolutely shattering for both Rand and the Aiel. On a grand scale, it's one of the most profound revelations in the Wheel of Time because it redefines an entire people's understanding of themselves and forces Rand into a role he never asked for. Imagine being told that everything you believe about your people, your history, your very identity is based on a lie. The Aiel have built their entire existence around the idea that they've been warriors, that their code of honor ji'e'toh has guided them since the beginning. They believe that they have always been this fierce, battle-hardened people. But then Rand comes along and learns the truth, that the Aiel were once pacifists devoted to peace, that they swore an oath to the Aes Sedai to never take up violence, that their transformation into warriors wasn't fate, it was a gradual, painful betrayal of their original purpose, forced by survival. Of course, only the clan chiefs and the wise ones knows the truth about the Aiel, and it's their best kept secret. But the rest of the Aiel know that there was some kind of broken promise to the Aes Sedai. They have carried this guilt without even understanding why, and now Rand, the Karakan, the prophesized leader, is about to tell them the truth that will rip their identity apart. This is why the Wise Ones and the clan chiefs knew that Rand would destroy them. They weren't waiting for him to physically wipe them out. They were waiting for him to expose the truth, to unravel their entire society. Because once the Aiel know who they really are, once they understand where they came from, how can they keep living in the same way? Rand doesn't just have to lead them, he has to break them. And the worst part, no one comes out of those trials unchanged. As we saw, many men don't even survive the glass columns. They go in and they never come back, either because they can't handle the truth or because they refuse to accept it. The only ones who do survive, clan chiefs and wise ones, carry the burden of that knowledge alone. But Rand, he has to share it, he has to make them face it. For Rand, this is devastating. He already struggles with his own identity, being raised in the Two Rivers, but learning he's actually Aiel by blood, yet never feeling like he belongs anywhere. And now he's the one responsible for telling the Aiel that everything they believe in is built on a foundation of forgotten shame. This is what makes him such a tragic figure. This isn't just fighting the shadow. He's fighting history itself. And by revealing the truth, Rand is forcing the Aiel to choose. Either cling to the warrior culture they've created, ignoring the past, or accept the truth and figure out what it means to be Aiel now. And we've already seen a glimpse of how some Aiel will struggle with the truth. Remember the ji'e'toh? Back in episode 3, we saw how they brutalized the Tuathan just for water. That moment foreshadowed what was to come, how the ji'e'toh abandoned and rejected everything that once made the Aiel honorable. ji'e'toh abandoned ji'e'toh. While other Aiel live by a strict code of honor, the ji'e'toh twist and abuse it to justify their cruelty. They became what the Aiel always feared. Warriors without limits, without rules, without respect for anything but their own power. Once the Aiel fought with discipline and purpose, but the ji'e'toh, they became nothing more than raiders and the very thing their ancestors would have despised. And we already know what happens to those who can't face the truth. Couladin's brother Rhuidean entered the glass columns and didn't survive. And what if Couladin had entered? If the ji'e'toh had all gone through the trial? They would have broken completely. Instead, they will run from the truth, cling to their own distorted version of what it means to be Aiel. Couladin himself is a perfect example of this denial. He doesn't see Rand as a Karakarn. He calls him a Wetlander, an outsider. He's in denial already. But as we know, denying the past doesn't change it. It only leads to destruction. Either way, Rand is going to change them forever. This moment in the books and in the show is not just about cool world building. It's about the weight of truth. Some people would rather live a lie than face what they've lost. But Rand doesn't have a choice. The wheel keeps turning and it's his job to break that cycle. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like this, please like and subscribe. You can also follow me on TikTok for daily videos, and I guess I'll see you in the next one.